Hey, good morning, everyone. Today we are 5 minutes late. Okay, so today we will cover the C Sharp code conversion into plugins, easiest way how to convert our entire business logic, whatever we have developed, we have executed into plugin code, and how to register with the help of plugins. And today we will learn how to even do pre-validation, pre-operations, and even will try if we can cover post-validation some of the scenario. Hope you understand today's agenda. Where are others? Can you hear me? Devesh, where are others? So that we can start. Just try to utilize this time quickly. Yogendra Chauhan joined this call or not yet? Can you ask him? This is very important topic so that we can cover most of the scenario. So meanwhile, do you have anything to discuss related to your queries, whatever you tried, but you are not able to achieve, or you are facing any issue? Hey, good morning. Let me know if you are able to face or you are getting any issue so that we can cover that scenario first. Any Nadeem, you don't have any issue. Devesh, have you tried anything? Because Pratik, Subham, Ritik. Subham, have you tried whatever we discussed so far? Good morning, Ashwini. Any issue you faced? No? Or all good? Okay, meanwhile, let me try to open our that trial environment. Do you have any scenario which I can, implement here and we can proceed further? Last task is not completed today, I will do. Okay. Any challenge why you are not able to complete your task? Pulkit, good morning. Or you did not get chance to look into this one. This is all about priority actually. Maybe you may have different types of priority. You have to complete your other priority, and this is least priority that you can even check, because this is all about your career. I cannot forcefully tell you. Okay. Nishant. Let me share my screen. Hey Yogendra, have you tried all those scenarios? This is best opportunity even you guys can even complete. Are you able to see my screen? So pre-validation, you heard about that particular opportunity. What is pre-validations here? Pre-validation is nothing like, suppose if there is something we don't have any information, or which we have to check any validation, and or we can say in other words, anything whatever we can check even without doing any further transaction. Transaction means create any, make any request, or without retrieving data from database. That level of validation if we can do, suppose what types of validation we can do in in that case. Suppose I have a request. In my request, suppose I have certain value in my email id, or my request object. Suppose my request object, maybe I have mobile number, email id, or maybe some another information, first name, last name, and maybe some of the other information I may have. So if I want to check, suppose if those are the four mandatory information, without those information I am not going to accept your request, so you cannot create that record, right? So you can check your information even without creating that particular request. How to do that activity? Suppose mobile number is there and even the proper mobile number is there, but here you don't have last name, you have first name, but mobile number you have. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to showcase a alert message, or alert message, and you have to skip this request. What should be the alert or a notification? uh, Mobile, you can even send that generic mobile number, email id, first name, and last name is required before required for creating the lead. So this is the server side validation. If any of the information are not available in my request, then it should not accept my request. So it should say one alert message and you are not able to save that record. That is my primary information. It is not like I'm writing this particular information in my JavaScript. This should be in server side, so that if I'm trying to import any record, if I'm trying to create any record from any API, it should not accept that request. That is my requirement here. Requirement is clear? Yes, you got it? Yes or no? Okay, at least you are here. So let's try to replicate this particular scenario in, it should be implemented in pre-validation mode. Why? Because here what we can check if my request array is having all those four parameter or not. Then I will try to create a record, otherwise not. So how we can validate this one? So let's try to replicate the same thing in my console base, right? In console base, this is very huge code. Maybe let's try to add all those code into one function so that we can validate, or private. Now you are able to understand like how we are creating a common function. What is the benefit of common function? What is the meaning of void here? Can someone tell me? What is the purpose of this one? Service dot update, data masking. So let's try to, here this is the function name. So even likewise, whatever we have written over there, even we can call this function and it will perform the same thing, data masking. and we can pass this service object. It will take care everything. So it is not like everything I can write here. So I can create my own logic in a separate function and I can call that function separately. Because this activity is completed, now we don't want to use this one now. But this is the way like we can call our uh, that different logic into our main code. Now let's try to create a separate function where I need to validate even uh, if my object or my required information is that a particular entity is having email address, mobile number, or any other required parameters. Yeah, we have four parameters. Okay, so let's try to utilize our AI agent so that we can save our some time here. Right. Where I will explain you first name, last name, and how quickly we can, write our code so that we can mobile number and email ID should not be blank if we have restrict, create, and showing. See, this is the complete information that even we have written here. So suppose even this is because this is great scenario here. We have to validate this particular scenario. So let's try to. So what happens? Suppose if I want to write my code even in my here console based application. So I have to validate here my logic in my console app. So let's try to use this particular area only. So entity is nothing like we are reading some information. How we are reading this information? Where we are reading. So in one of the function we are retrieving data based on the record UID get entity data. We can utilize this particular method. Okay, so here before this one let's try to create try to entity here entity equal to here we are trying to read data from lead entity. So here what it is accepting service. Okay, we will provide this or service client, because this function is accepting first parameter as service client id. Again, now the second parameter here is entity name. Here entity name is lead. Why all those information are needed here? Because we try to check first here. Okay, so here what is the uh, purpose here? Okay, let's try to define that particular function here. Variable. So those function we will here, this field account we will pass here. And because we are checking that information from one specific record, so let's try to use one information here. Let's try to use this record uid. Okay, even we can define here new GUID. Okay, so this is the way, like how many field we are retrieving? Four field. Okay, these are the field name: first name, last name, mobile phone, and then email address, right? So now let's try to check that information. Even let's try. Now code is ready. So what we are checking here, in this particular field, in this particular object array, are we containing those information? If yes, then fine, otherwise it will set null value. If it is containing last field, the same option, mobile number and email id. If check validation here, so what we are checking, in any of those particular parameter, if it is null, then we have to showcase a alert message or error message. What was that one? First name, last name, mobile number, email ID are mandatory. Please provide all those required information before creating the record. Okay. This is the pre-validation message we have to check. So let's try to check that information, that particular code, either we have written correct code or not. Let's start our debugging. How to register that one I can show you after testing this particular code. F10, F10. So here let's try to get information here. Okay, so suppose here let's see five information. So first name, email id, mobile number. Okay, let's see value. Here value we have proper information, like here we have first name, email id, mobile number, and even the last name also. So let's try to utilize this particular code, either it is working or not. Here we should not get this particular error. Why? Because all information we are having here. So it will skip this particular validation. So there is no issue, right? Now let's try to check our code for any record where we don't have. Okay, the first name here is this one. So let's save this record and then try to check this one. Still we have not registered this code, but let's try to run this code again. Main thing is that, like, you have to write our code in such a manner so that at least you can debug. Here you can see, if first name is here, first name is null, last name is here, last name is here, mobile number is here, mobile number is here, email id is here. Yes, we have all those information, but only one thing is missing. Attribute level, if we want to check, here we have four information. So here, suppose if something is not available, so it will not return that information in the array. So first name is not available, so it will not add that information in that particular array. That's why we are getting four object here. So now we will get one error here. Here it, because this first name is null here, so we will get a exception here, because here this particular exception is handled in the plugin side. That's why this will not come. So now we are good to go. Our code will work here. Now try to register our code in our plugin side. That is our agenda here. That is pre-validation. Why pre-validation we have to write? Because as of now here we are checking from CRM, but with this particular code it will check, because entity it will return here as a complete entity code from uh, target entity. I will tell you. So suppose now we are try to create a new plugin code. Okay, so this is our first plugin code. So let's try to create our plugin in such a manner so that our naming convention also proper, our key also here. I will tell you what types of information we have to. This is very important here. Now you will become C sharp for plugin expert .dll file, right? Oh, C sharp code, that is called class library. See here, you can see this is also a class library, but we have to utilize this class library where we have to register our DLL file, right? So this is the correct file. Here we have to choose where this is C sharp file and library here is .dll file we have to choose, right? Let me know if you have any concern, questions. That's right. Let me know if you have any question, concern, so that we can quickly discuss that one. Okay, this is the project name. It will help you to define your, naming convention in based on your organization. Suppose you are working for Microsoft account, Microsoft project directory. So based on your organization naming culture, so here you have to define that one, so that you should know what is our naming convention we are utilizing here. So most of the organization, they are, suppose there is a company like SCL. So if they have their own naming convention, so they may utilize their naming convention. They may utilize HCL dot here. Uh, they may utilize here MSCRM dot. Maybe this could be related to any specific modules. So it could be related to sales, and then maybe it could be any other things. So let's suppose here they can utilize PLU plugins. So this is the naming convention. Maybe we have to define based on our policy, right? So suppose someone say, why you have taken that much time here? You can simply say test, test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. Why we are not utilizing that number? What is the benefit here? Because if we can type anything here. Like why that much, I can type my own, my priority or my, comfort name. Like suppose plugin only sufficient. You should understand the purpose of this naming convention, so that it is not like either you can understand or other can not understand. Because you may be working in a company for a certain time of period, but company has to be run for a long. So your process or your code should be person independent, it should be process dependent. You have to follow the process so that everyone has to understand, like, hey, this particular plugin code is related to sales modules, and that is related to MSCRM project. So this particular code may be stored in the repo. So even they can easily understand, hey, in this SCL account, we maybe this is related to any specific project also. Account means company name or any specific project. So that's the reason we have to take decision, and we have to understand this particular naming convention. I am giving you some specific additional time here so that at least you can understand it. Most of the candidate, they are not considering about this particular naming convention. They are writing like anything. Even we have to explain many times, multiple times, hey, you have to explain it, but they are, not following that process. But this is very basic thing you have to follow. Some case, some of the companies candidates, they are removing. Why? Because they are not following their process. They don't want to follow. Either they are not able to understand, or they don't want to follow the process. Okay, let's create this particular project here. It will take some time here, but we have to, you know be here. So okay, one thing, this is the default class library here we have created, but we should utilize our proper naming convention. Suppose here this is one project we have created. Under this project, we can create different folder structure as well. So different structure as well, like I can create here a folder for different entities. Suppose if I want to write my plugin under lead. So any plugins code, if I want to write, I have to add my class library inside this particular folder only. That is my hierarchy that I have to follow. This is class library. So lead pre-validation. So I have to write my code in such a manner. Let me remove this one. Okay, so this is basic things that we have done here. Now let's try to understand. This is the basic architecture we have done. So now we have some default here reference that we have added to connect to work with plugin code. We have to follow some Microsoft guideline. It is not like whatever I want to add, it will work based on my understanding, based on a developer, uh, you know, or instruction or the process, that particular code will work. But we have to follow what Microsoft told. Like if we have to implement or we have to add our own code, so we have to follow some process. So that's why we are here to learn like how to follow, how to follow those steps so that we can write our internal logic also. So there are certain steps, certain stage you have to follow so that you can register your code, because Microsoft has given you some of the options so that you have to follow those options and you have to extend their existing process. So this is internal class purpose. So suppose there might be some scenario you have to write your own class and you have to write some complex logic into those class. Maybe some of the place, some of the company, they are creating different logical class in as a shared library, and you have to consume those library inside your plugin code, and you don't have even option to even change those particular library. You have option like you have to consume those functions only, so that there are limited option you can change. But now we are not going into that level of depth, but at least you should have initial level of information so that you can learn more on that one. So first of all, you have to add some library which Microsoft suggested, like based on those library information or library help, you can extend our dynamic CRM capability. Right? Understood? So you have to follow Microsoft guideline so that you can add your code here. So this is default internal class here. So this is access specifier here. So you can learn what types of access specifier here in C sharp and what is the benefit, and when we have to use which specific access specifier. So if I'm here to explain you, to give you that level of information so that at least you can learn .NET here, then only I can even give you entire details, but we have here limited time. So this should be here public access specifier here, so that you can register your code into the plugin side. Okay, so we have to add some library here. Which library here we have to add? That libraries are NuGet package, so that you can extend your C sharp code into plugin code. This is very important. Earlier what happened, when we don't have NuGet package, we have to add our .NET related those DLL uh, dynamically, or here in the reference side we need to add here add reference, and we have to add those DLL into the project level. But now we have option, we can install those library from NuGet package. So Microsoft XRM core library we have to install here. This is the Microsoft.crm SDK.core library is sufficient here. So how to add that one? Search this one, select this library, add into your current project. Maybe we may have multiple project in one solution, so you can install it. Once you are installing it will give you some prompt here for accepting some terms and conditions, and then we are good to go. I am giving you that level of information so that at least a non-technical person also can write a plugin code. Very basic, very basic information I am giving you here. I have some urgency today as well, but I'm here to give you my 1.5 hour time for you only, so that at least you can learn and you can learn your continuous part here. So try to do your practice here and see references we have added, lead library. So suppose if you have to add your code here, so you need to add some JavaScript. These are the namespace. Namespace is like we are writing our code here. So similarly Microsoft also providing some code, that namespace. So they have written their own functions. So Microsoft dot CRM or XRM dot SDK, that I can export it directly here, and then maybe, so this is the inheritance. I hope you understand inheritance. Inheritance, if you don't have any idea like what is the inheritance here, so at least you should go and learn the C++ code. This is the one that we have exported, we have added here, and it should be iPlugin interface we have to use here. Oh, why am writing here? Tell me. This is namespace here. I have to write my code. So it is expecting some of the default method, like this should be here. Okay, so without this one it will not accept, because it should have a execute method here. And if we have make it, okay, let me show you what is the like public or private, what is the benefit here. Or INTER internal. So suppose I have written my code. So which code I have written here? So here, this is my code. Let's try to utilize this code. We have already tested that code. Is there any? See, this is the context here. Context, what is context here? Obtain execution context here. So in plugin, this is very important. Like if you are writing any specific keyword, so you should understand here what it is having. So context is nothing here. Context, with the help of this context is a object where we can retrieve multiple information. Multiple information, like it will always contains here message, like in which particular message this uh, which is triggering here. So with the help of this context we can retrieve target entity, like this particular uh, this plugin whatever we have here. in which particular plugin it is registered. So with the help of this context we can retrieve multiple information. So and how to get this context here? So with the help of this particular uh, here we have execute service provider. With the help of the service provider we can get the context here. For example, in JavaScript you have learned about form contacts. So how we retrieve form contacts? Like we are sending execution context from form level and then we are getting the form contact. Similarly we will get contacts from service provider. So this particular line you have to write here. It is not like now some of the candidate they may tell, hey, why we have used get service? Why this type of, why we have written here typo? Once I told you based on Microsoft guideline how we have to achieve this one. B Microsoft has given certain step, that's why we are here to learn all those things. So this is the first method that under that plugin interface we should implement this execute method so that we can write our code here itself. So this is context. So first of our goal here to get context object. So you can utilize, it is not like you have to learn this particular line of uh, syntax, but you have to utilize, like you have to create one plugin code and you have to copy paste this information. But this is the way like how we are returning this context here. Now here with the help of this context you are checking if you have create message. I will tell you what is this create message and how we will get this create message and even the target entity. So in which particular entity we have registered this one. So now you have a option like how to return a entity object here. So with the help of this context which we have created here, we can choose here context dot input parameter if it is target as entity written here, and we can get this object here. So with this particular object we have everything. Now this is context is a separate object and now we have retrieved entity object. Entity object means where we have registered our code. So let's, I will tell you line by line. This is very basic pre-validation step we have written here. Okay, now the next step here is let's create one here. Let's build this one first and let's do some configuration here first time. This is very important part. So here you have to click here, right here as a property, so you can see some of the basic option here. So here there is a signing option. Here signing option, why signing is required here? The signing purpose, signing the assembly here. So if you are signing this assembly, it is like suppose if this signing, why signing is required here? So that if someone try to change your plugin code, because this you are try to change, you know, complete Microsoft business logic also. So Microsoft given you a option here so that you can protect your code. Make sure you have a option. It is not like this is mandatory, but you have a option like you can protect your code so that you have a option to, you know, other person cannot, you know, directly override your code. They should have, they should know this particular code. So sometimes if you have written a key which you forgot, so it's very difficult even to register yourself also. So make sure you should remember and you should maintain this particular key in such a manner so that everyone has to follow the same thing. So what happen? You have defined one here logic like, hey, for MSCRM, suppose key name I have defined here. So you have written one key here, MSCRM key. So you told like, hey, this key we have to maintain here. Like suppose HCL is a company, and I have to maintain here a complex key, that is a password. So maybe you have to generate a complex key, but you have to make a note on that one. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So at the rate 4321, again HCL at the rate 4321. So you have to maintain and you have to remember this one, so that you have to define this particular key that maybe next time. So suppose save it. If you want to change this password, so if you want to change this password, so you have to remember your old password so that you can change. So make sure if you are changing your password, HCL at the rate 4321. So maybe next time you have to enter the same password, so that you have to remember HCL at the rate 4321, and again HCL at the rate 4321. Same password you are changing, and there is no restrictions here. Here you should have a option here. Your code or this framework should be 4.7.2 if it is a latest online environment. So there is a code compatibility here with your framework here. It should be 4.7.2, right? Don't ask like why we have changed this one, because our Microsoft D365 or CRM is compatible. Our library, whatever we have added here, which one we have added here recently, those CRM library. It totally depends. Our library should be compatible with this particular framework. That's why we change it. Sometimes in initial days, I got to know like this particular framework. I always getting this particular time, this particular issues, like, hey, this particular XRM, this particular namespace is not supported here. Then I got to know like I have to change this target framework so that I can work here. To identify this particular issue, I have spent around 10 to 12 hours dedicatedly to understand this particular things. That information I have shared with you within 2 minutes. So try to utilize this time, and our here we are using signing, right? So now we are good to go. Now we can deploy our plugin code. Our code is ready. Now we have to build this code. Minimize. Let's do it quickly. Build it. Okay. There is no issue here. Okay. Okay. Now we have to check where our code is there. So open folder in File Explorer. Let's open this one. So in bin folder, we should get that library in debug or release. So this is our DLL name. Sales DLL, we have this particular one. So now we have to upload this particular code, or we have to register our plugin code, because as of now we have just build our code here. Okay, so where we have this, so let's try to open our plugin registration tool so that you can understand. This is our first plugin registration here in our session. So to register our plugin, we have to search plugin registration tool. This is plugin registration tool. We already connected our trial environment here. It is taking some time to load our plugins. Okay, so this particular library we have not registered yet. So we have to register our plugin. If this is first time, we don't have that plugin. So even we can search that one. So HCL dot MSCRM. Is there any plugin? No. So let's add it. Register new package or registered new assembly. So register new step here. So here register new assembly means here we have to add a new assembly. We have to, you got it. So register new assembly. We have to select that assembly whatever we have developed. So we already copied that one. So that way is that particular where we have written either we have copied that particular path, this path where we have seen this file, and I have selected now that plugin, that namespace, whatever DLL, because we have selected, we have created our code in DLL format. Open it. So we selected. So here I can see all the selected library here. So here I have seen here this particular library, right? But here I'm not able to see any library, that plugin code here. So now you should understand the power of this particular access specifier, because this is internal. So under this namespace there is no plugin code. Okay, let's change this internal as public. So you may face these types of issues even you are not going to change this access specifier and you are checking, hey, where is my plugin? Some of the candidate they are checking, hey, my I have done everything. Then where is my code, that plugin code? They have not checked like, hey, you have not checked or changed the default here access specifier. Now if you that debug that build it, then you have to check that part. Suppose if you can see there is a plugin also added here. Now you have seen the power of the access specifier. Right? Okay, let's register this one. So this one, here you have that option, like in sandbox you are going to register that one into registered selected plugin. If you are going to uncheck this one, so that code will unchecked, there is no plugin registered here. So just check this one and register the selected plugin. It will take some time. There is an while selecting plugins, please check the log information. Okay, देख लेते हैं. What is the error here? 4.72 supported using. Okay, so here 4.7.2 is not supported. So what is they are telling? We have to change 4.7.1 framework version. Okay, let's do it. Because anyhow we have to follow the guidance whatever Microsoft is telling. So we have to change it. Okay, yes. Now save it, change it, and now rebuild. Select rebuild. Registered. Okay, load library, load it. Now going to registered. We may face multiple issues. We may get different types of issues. That is part of a developer life. But how to resolve it, that is our main here process. See, now we have registered this plugin. Now there is another option, another activity we have to perform. So Now our code is deployed, our code is available in the server, but we have to tell in this application, hey, this code is available, but where we have to, trigger this code, because trigger point also there here. So that particular code is available in the server, but we have to add a step here. Okay, let's add that step. So register new step. After deploying or after uploading our code, I need to register a new step. Now I have written one code here. If you are able to recall, context dot message name. So here we have a create. So before creating this particular code, I need to check this particular message. Like I have to add this message on create event. So message name is create. Here I am defining. So it will check context dot message name. If it is a create message, then it will go into next state. Otherwise not equal to create, it will return from here. Okay, so create here message. Okay, the primary entity, it is asking, hey, this particular code will run in which entity. So you have to tell my code should run in lead entity. Okay, let's select this one. Oh, I the default, actually I clicked here selected. So let's open this one. So all attribute here we have filtering attribute. So here, so lead we have selected here. So we have added this one as post operation, but we have to select here is pre-validation, because we want to register this plugin step here in pre-validation. We have to check before creating that record only. It should be synchronous or asynchronous. So which one we have to prefer? This one. So asynchronous will be here, should be there here. So, and what is the benefit here? Filtering attribute here. So filtering attribute should not be all here, because we have written or we have utilized our code here, like mobile number, email address, first name, last name, right? And here you are able to see run as user contacts here. So calling user. So our the benefit of here is the user contacts. What is the user contacts here? This is very important. With this screen, our interviewer can ask n number of questions. I will tell you. You have to prepare this one. I'm not telling you everything. Like what is the use of secure configure? What is the use of unsecure configuration? What is the execution pipeline, event pipeline stage? So that we already discussed: pre-validation, pre-operation, core operation, and post-operation. And which particular stage you have to select this, what is asynchronous and what is synchronous here, what is the deployment mode here, server and offline. So those are the basic question. And even what is the impersonation here, and run as user contacts here. If you want to run this particular plugin in a specific user, what is the process here? If you need to run this particular code in a specific user, like any service account or anything, what is the process here? So here, from here you can select that user. And what is the execution order here? So what is the meaning of one here? So even I have registered even multiple plugin with the same execution order, which will run first here. So those types of question you may get here. So if we are learning here plugin here, so you should get so many interview questions answer here automatically. So it will run based on the execution order, and if execution order is same, so it will run based on the that plugin registration date and time, the order of that one. So let's update this one and try to utilize this particular code. Okay, so this it will run in the synchronous model only, not asynchronous, because it will, here you can understand. So they can ask in pre-validation stage, is there any possibility you can run or you can register your plugin code in asynchronous mode or not? And what is the use of this particular checkbox? What will happen if you have selected this one? So here, if you are registering your code in pre-validation, and if you are going to use this asynchronous code, so you don't have any option. You have seen this one here. You cannot register, right? So you have to register in a synchronous mode only. Update. So there are many questions. So don't miss this particular live session. If you miss due to any urgency, anything, try to go to refer this session and try to execute or try to follow the instruction here. Okay, let's try to create one record here in pre-validation. Our code is ready, whatever we have written here. So let's try to create a new lead record without those four parameters. Suppose we'll try to create a record with all information, and we'll try to create a record without one field, mandatory field information. Even in the form level, we may have, why this script error is coming multiple times? Can someone fix this one? Lead mail library, we have maybe one method does not exist. So just try to fix this one. If you have this environment access, one or two more things actually we need to showcase here. Suppose if we need to print something here, how to print into the how to create even a tracing object here, and how to even utilize that tracing part. Those are the small things I just try to explain here, but we are over the time today. Okay, here new, let's create a lead like test test lead pre. Okay, so first name, last name, we have added this particular control. Mobile phone here, suppose uh, email id, suppose abcde@gmail.com. So we have added all those four information. Let's try to save it. This is a script error that we are getting, but we are able to manage this record, and we have created this record. So now if you are able to see in the contact list, in the lead list, sorry, so you can see that lead, first name, last name. Okay, let's try to create a record without having that value. So similarly, I told you pre-validation step in very detail. Let's remove first name here, test, because suppose we have this number. Okay, add this information also. Let's try to skip email ID and first name. So are you able to what happen? Your code is written or not? Display. Can someone? What is the issue here? Which particular event? Default does not SKU management from onload. Okay, let's remove that particular one from onload. So likewise, we have written this particular one, and now debugging comes into the picture. So now the next step here is the plugin debugging part and how we are debugging here. Okay, so here create uh, tracing event. So tracing event is nothing like tracing service. So whatever we are writing, we are doing something in our console.write line, right? Same thing if we are doing. So same thing if we need to register something in tracing side, so we have to create a tracing service object. This is similar like we have created contacts and we have to create a tracing service. So what is the meaning of tracing service here? So suppose if we need to write something here, we need to read something. So suppose tracing dot trace. So we can even write that one into, so like entity logic. If we need to write here, it will store that information. This is the static value here, and even we can write that information dot to string. We can add to string. So likewise, we can add anything if we want to check any information here. So suppose this is the one that we want to check. So if we want to write something, so even if we want to check here first name, so we can display here first name. Similarly, last name. Similarly, mobile. Similarly, email address. So you have to, you will get all those information, and even if you want to print even other part also tracing dot trace. So is it's true means everything you can print here itself. Okay, so let's build this one and let's upload it. Likewise, you can upload that code here, update. If you want to update second time, create is first time, update it. If you want to change something, so you have to upload your code here. This is the one. Okay, upload. Likewise, you have to check your code. Okay, so let's check that code where it is. Let's remove our JavaScript code. Okay, so we are over the time here. Maybe you, once you have time, you can even go through more into this one, sales insight, and we can debug maybe from Monday. So sales insight on load, let's remove that JavaScript function. We'll continue from here from Monday, and then we'll see. On load, this is not the one. I just want to disable it. Okay, so save and publish. So likewise, you have to enable the tracing service, and you can check tracing from that I have showcased. You can do that tracing part as well. Like now you are able to see the tracing here, but you need to enable that tracing in the organization level. How to enable that one? You can quickly do it, and then you can check that tracing part, whatever we have printed. So console dot write line we are doing in the console application. So same manner, the same method, same way we can do here. So suppose if we want to write here something, console dot, so here console dot write line. That's it. So same manner we have written even in our plugin code. Any concern, any confusion you have, or we are good? Secondary entity, you can check. Secondary entity is required when we have to do some association or de-association. We'll cover that one maybe in next scenario. Tracing service in my tool where to write message, right. In Monday, my interview in of the MNC, just I won't take. Yeah, I already share many questions in our previous session, even in the discussion area. I'll try to share some more scenario. Okay, so let's connect on Monday from here, and we'll do multiple things. Thank you everyone, but try to utilize this session. This is not like I have to do everything. I have to do my practice only, and I can get more job. But I will just try to, help here to you guys also. But my motive or my intention here is you also get, good knowledge, so that even if needed, we can utilize your skill set also, and you will also get more package and more, even especially for skills. Thank you everyone, we'll meet on Monday. Have a good day, have a good weekend. Thank you.